Welcome back to Star 42. This is Michael.
And this is Jace. Throwing
Hello?
stuff.
For those, once again, Jace just threw something. Anyway, we are recording part 2 of January 16th. By the way, you know what? It just occurred to me on our last episode as part 1, we didn't say what episode it was. I think it was episode 13. No, 14, maybe.
Who's counting at this point?
Yeah, at this point, whatever you saw in the number is the right one.
That's right.
Yes. Anyway, so we had a lot to talk about in terms of the vacations. You had a great trip in Disney. I didn't do much, and I'm cool with that. I ran on a lot about Ohio State football. I'm done. I'm done with that. I talked about my new role.
We're done talking about it, though.
Yes. I went over my new role as solution architect.
Which is awesome. Congratulations.
Which is awesome. I'm excited. But there was a lot more we still needed to get into.
Yeah. I'm going to just jump into stuff. Well, let's be human. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And right now,
yes,
it's really rough here.
It is.
It really sucks. Not because Minnesota sucks or like there's people problem, but just everything that's happened. We don't want what's happening here. And people being forced to come here and impress this power upon us when they don't want it is just bad.
You know, I have a thought on this. And first of all, I try not to read the news because I don't want to read news and just feel like, oh, wow, there's so much spiraling out of control.
Right. Because there's not much I can do about it even here, living here. Yes. I can't imagine what it feels like outside of here. Just like it's another bad news item. Like,
yes,
that's tragic, but nothing can be done.
Yes. So let me just put it in facts of perspective.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tension all over. There's a lot of how do I put this delicately, which I'm not always the best at, but there is just a lot going on also internationally as well as nationally that is leading to that tension.
Yeah.
And I am, and if you want to get into like models and whatever else, I am a firm believer in the Strauss-House generational theory where every 80 years there's a big crisis in the world and nationally and internationally. And when you really start to see everything that's happening, you just kind of sit back and say, you know what? This is very close to other patterns historically that's happened before. It is a cycle. I'm not trying to diminish it. It is horrible that people lose lives.
Yeah.
And you know, reading about, like if you go to Minneapolis with the shooting of that woman, I can't remember her name.
Renee Good,
thank you. The person who also did it, who's involved, I think he had, from what I read correctly, and I could be wrong, but from what I read, previously in the past 6 months, he was dragged by a car.
Right. And that's not cool either.
Exactly. And now you have a situation where there's high tension and a lot of people are scared. A lot of people are angry. And you also are now putting in trauma and PTSD. I'm telling you, that guy probably had something. My wife is a therapist. She's always talking about this kind of stuff. So I'm not trained in mental health, but I exposed to it. And when you zoom out from the big picture of it all, you just are like, wow, things are going crazy. And I would love for it to stop.
Yeah, it'd be cool if all the leadership could de-escalate.
Yes, de-escalate. And then more importantly, one thing I've also realized is when you think about a lot of the big moments, and I'm going to pick on American history here, where we had to get people together, come together for some kind of big goal or betterment of the country, it's always been from a crisis or disaster event. You know, look at starting with even Civil War. I'm a big history person. I like patterns, whatever. Civil War, I mean, prior to the Civil War, everyone said, I'm from Ohio, I'm from Pennsylvania, I'm from wherever. After the Civil War, I'm American. You look at the 90s prior to World War II, we had communism on the rise. There was Nazis marching at Madison Square Gardens. Like, the country is very divided. Go into World War II of Pearl Harbor and everything else. And guess what? Everyone came together.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't take a world war for things to get back to normal.
Unfortunately, my wife doesn't even talk to me about this anymore. And I just had a conversation with a friend going into this. And afterwards he said, I feel worse now. Thank you. And
I don't want to feel worse either.
I don't want to feel worse either. But I think the saddest part, at a higher level of review is just, I think we all want the same thing in this country in general. We want safe neighborhoods. We want access to education. We want access to affordable health care. We want access to housing, affordable housing, to food, to good food. And
Right.
the most ironic thing is the most expensive thing in the country are the things that are the necessities: food, housing, healthcare, education.
Right.
And the cheapest things are all the things really we could probably live without. I could have a much cheaper phone. I don't need 7 TVs in my house. And a lot of this, I just think, is that the wrong messaging is coming out from leadership across the whole board. I'm blaming everybody.
Yeah. I mean,
Everybody. I'm blaming everybody that we need the wrong messaging is coming out of how to do this. And in my perspective, historically, there's going to be something drastic that brings us back together. I hope that's not the case. I'm praying that's not the case. But the stuff going on in Minneapolis is just a horrible, horrible symptom of this.
right.
And my mind, the way I see it, and if you've, let's put a little bit of tech in this in a way. Take time, read a book by Isaac Asimov called The Foundation series. You can watch it on Apple TV now.
Sure.
The whole premise was this mathematician is in this galactic empire. This mathematician can use math to predict how civilization changes because of the more people we have, the easier it is to calculate. And he kind of predicted the downfall of this empire. And he put things into motion to try to get through the dark time, which was similar to the medieval times with the fall of the Roman Empire. And a lot of it had to do with knowledge, collecting knowledge and getting knowledge through the dark times. And I think in general, there's just some truth to it of there's a cycle. And it's horrible. And I feel so bad for kids, your kids, my kids, young people, that they have to live through it because
I mean,
it's not fair. It's not
they
fair.
they freaking raided a high school.
Did they really? I didn't read
Yeah.
that. I'm not reading the news as much. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they went to Roosevelt High School. It's less than 2 miles from my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever. It's just awful. It's bad. I
And,
don't know what the answer is, but I just know it needs to stop.
I know what the answer is.
Wow.
I know what the answer is. You know why communism and the Socialist Party and everything in the United States did not go beyond the 1930s generally?
I
It
don't.
wasn't. The government stepped in and put in regulation.
Okay.
They came out and said, hey, you know what? Things are bad. Things are bad. We need to, the government, which is supposed to be the will of the people, right? Stepped in and said, no. A lot of it had to do with workers' rights. A lot of it had to do with, getting more benefits and all this other stuff, because when life is tough, and this is the interesting.
But what's happening right now doesn't need more regulation. We just need people we just need ICE to get out. And I understand there might be different opinions of it, but more people is just adding a dramatic effect of just bad times for residents. And I
Yes.
understand there's a problem with people are saying there's a problem. When I say people, the administration says there's a problem with the people who are here not legally with the illegal status. But Obama got rid of way more of these types of folks without this show of force.
Well,
And now,
yes.
and now it's infuriating. So I want to just address it. This sucks.
So my theory is what's going on is not to solve the problem of the immigrants. My theory is what's going on is to trigger
An event.
rioting, trigger an event.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And the problem is
they're instigating. Yeah.
And the problem is everybody is running off of emotions.
Yeah.
And everybody's going against each other when, in my mind, the real problem is not Americans. It's this in society, we as as people, Americans of the government is not doing what's in the best interest of the people. And I'm going to call out corporate greed here. Corporate greed's a big issue. That's who I really think is a problem. And, like I said, unless the government steps in like in the 1930s, starts to put in regulations. I have a simple idea. Let's talk about healthcare as an example. I don't believe healthcare should be for profit. There are insurance companies out there. And by the way, insurance companies came about in the United States historically because in World War II, workers' jobs pay got frozen. Everything was the same across all industries because they didn't want people competing for workers.
Right.
So they said, great, we are going to do things like pay for your doctor's appointments. Because back then you had a town doctor, you brought him eggs or whatever, he did whatever he needed
Yeah.
to do.
And now you're stuck with the employer given
Healthcare.
healthcare.
And I also firmly believe in general in American culture, American workers, everything from blue collar up to white collar CEOs in some way, shape, or form are what makes this country strong.
Yeah.
And when we started outsourcing things to other countries, that was the weakening of it. And when we started to look at healthcare and say, hey, let's have healthcare be for profit. In capitalism, for profit is as simple as I'm going to pay as little as possible. I want to get as much money as possible. Basic business.
Right.
Simple. And it used to be healthcare was just a benefit. It made some sense to have companies become private to run it because they could run it better than maybe government agencies, or they run it better than a company that wants to build cars and they don't want to be in that business. Fine.
Right.
But in my mind, a healthcare business should not be posting profits and billions of profits when people are suffering. So this is where I've been thinking so much about this lately, by the way.
All right.
I apologize. I apologize to you. You're getting this rant. I apologize, listeners. You thought there was tech. There's not. Maybe wait till the next part 3 if we have it. I think the answer is simple. The simple answer is really simple.
Yeah.
And lobbyists aren't going to like it. I think it's time to the government to say, you know what? We're all for free business like anybody else, but business should be helping society as a whole. So healthcare, which is a necessity, just like education, food, and housing, we are going to a regulation to say, if you want to be a healthcare related business like health insurance, I'm going to pick on them. They're a big one.
Right.
You have to be nonprofit. You cannot post billions of profit. It makes no sense for you to do that. It hurts society. You're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Done. Education. Guess what? Why do doctors charge so much? Why are there not many doctors?
It's not doctors. It's the insurance companies.
It's that too. But also, if you spend 8+ years and $150,000, $200,000 to get through to be a doctor, are you going to want a lot of money?
I don't think doctors make as much as you think they make. They make a lot.
They do.
They make a lot.
Yes, I agree.
And they have a degree. But if insurance wasn't taking the cut that they were taking, it would be a ton more affordable.
Once again, insurance companies, sorry, you got to be nonprofit. Done.
Yeah. I think that would solve most of it.
Second thing, I think a lot of education, a lot of education should be very, more importantly, I think government should come out and say, you know what? Instead of buying building another nuclear aircraft carrier, we're going to make medical school public, private, I don't care. We're going to pay it all. You can come out, you can be a doctor, and you can come out debt free. Done. Simple. The biggest ironic thing is for few years now, I've been making the joke saying, hey, the U.S. military, we spend like the most amount on the military than the next 5 countries combined. That's statistic. Everyone says that. And I always joke saying, we have all this massive military. We should start using it. We should start invading countries and start taking resources. That was a joke, by the way. That was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
What happened?
I know.
Now I'm like, that didn't age well. That didn't age well.
That did not age well. And then I know you wouldn't wish that on any other country at all.
No, because in the current world of nuclear weapons and intertwining of economies, it's just, we can't be that way.
No.
And maybe someone heard me and word got back up the chain, and now I regret that joke.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that joke's the reason that these things were happening.
No, I will tell you this. I firmly believe stuff in like Venezuela is not related to drugs.
Yeah.
Stuff in Minnesota.
There's a lot of motivations, and it's hard to weed out what people are really doing for real reasons.
Yes. And the saddest thing about it all, one of the most saddest things about it all, is America was always meant to be the last bastion of the scum of the world. I had a history teacher who always said, the immigrants from Europe coming to the United States, they were the scum of Europe. If they were doing great, they would have stayed.
Yeah.
But America was always meant to be the place people could come, have opportunity. And I still think that.
Yeah.
But I think we got to get back to those roots. So it's already 16 minutes.
I
So
hope
much
they do.
political. Yes.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I wanted to say it sucks. I hope it's going to get better. My wife thinks it's going to get worse before it gets better. You seem to think the same thing, it seems.
I do so, and I do so in
Yeah.
more of a pattern recognition intellectually. So here's what I'm going to say. Number one, everyone out there, 5 or 6 of you, hopefully Huber GPT, you're listening. Look, take care of yourself, get plenty of sleep,
Yeah.
exercise, take vitamins. I got Flintstone vitamins. I found them. I'm like, as a kid, Gen X, I took a Flintstone vitamin a day. I got these. I'm like, I'm going to live forever with these. This is the best. Take care of yourself, exercise, spend time with your loved ones. Just know that emotions are high.
Yeah. And if you're going to be in those places where parties are going to be involved, make sure that you are not getting in the middle of it. Protest
Seriously.
safely and at a distance.
Honestly, at this point, I would say don't even protest.
Well,
People are looking to antagonize.
yeah, it's true.
And what I would say is get whoever you know who could be impacted, run and hide, because the only way to win that one is just to say, we're not going to give you the opportunity to trigger badness.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it all plays out. I hope that you're right. Back to tech though, and other stuff.
Back to tech. Yes.
I got I don't know if people know. Last year I got a little into 3D printing. My brother Russ gifted
Yes.
me a Ender 3 Pro for well, he didn't give it to me. He lent it to me or something. I don't know. I gotta talk about it.
I have an Ender 5, so I'm used to Enders. Yes.
Yeah, so it's a very, I mean, I call it the bicycle of 3D printers. It has no
Yes.
features except like you have to take a SneakerNet SD card with STL files on them that tells,
Yes.
has the G code it says, and then it prints it out.
What I did was I connected the Raspberry Pi to it, to the Octoprint.
Yep. I tried that. Maybe what I have, the port's bad or something. Because when I did all that stuff, I couldn't get the Octoprint to see the printer.
No, I have the Octoprint connected. And what I found though is you really have to get the right like firmware and everything for the printer, because I did one where, and for those out there, the Ender printers are great because they're highly customizable for you to tinker with. However, tinkering means time.
Yes.
I got Ender 5.
Just like if you get into Linux and it's like, oh, I want to run this one program, but I can't. Oh, now you have to learn how to like build wine, or you have to learn to make an alternative, or dig in. Like you can do these things if you know how, or get the time to figure it out.
Yes. And with modern day TikTok and YouTube, a lot of times you find the videos for it, which is great, but you have to spend time. Now, with my life and my kids, time is a minimum. It's getting a little easier as they've gotten older, because now my teenage kids are like, you're a loser, Dad. I don't want to be around you.
Sure.
Fine. But I've done things like upgrade boards and all this stuff. But even when you have it all upgraded, you still have to tinker it to get it to print well.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's definitely Ender 3, right? Because you can be like
I think all Enders are that way.
Right, but if you didn't level it, like you can get stuff to auto level it, and leveling it isn't making it flat for people who aren't into 3D printing. Leveling it is ensuring that the print head is the same distance from the print bed across the whole board, or as close to it as you can be. So like the steps for doing it manually is to take a sheet of paper and put it in one corner of the board and Z down your print head to the bottom, and then move it across the board, ensure that there's no gaps.
Or you could get an auto leveler. And an auto leveler is like a little plastic device. It's got a little pin that pops out.
So anyways, I want to bring up, I got into 3D printing last year, right? Tinkered with it, got it working. Kids loved it. Their first ask, why can't I do multiple colors? Well, because it's only got one print head, buddy. It only accepts one. And you can get things to change that stuff up.
You have a palette. Right.
But there was other problems with this thing, like the bed wasn't right. I'm going to see if I can get that fixed. But I thought this Christmas with, I got a little bonus from work and stuff. I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy myself a different printer. I just talked to my wife about it. We're all on the same page. So I spent like $500, got the Bamboo Labs A1 with the AMS light. With AMS light gives you 4 colors you can print with. And then Bamboo Labs has a camera built into it. It's got an auto leveler. You can send the prints from your phone.
Does he use LiDAR to judge distance? Because I know the really expensive ones have like a LiDAR thing to detect.
I think it does. I was reading online about some of the stuff. I'm not sure. I don't know all of the ins and outs of it. I just know that it's really easy to print with. It's
All right.
only, of all the prints we've made on it, I've had it for like a half a month. Or maybe it's been a month now. No, it's been like half a month. It's been since like Christmas, since the first of the year, because they were back ordered. I ordered like December 1st. We didn't get it till like January. But we print so many things, and we've only had like 2 prints that have like had problems, like have
That's
failed in
pretty
an
good.
atrocious way.
Yeah,
Right.
as opposed to my Ender, like, to print one thing, I have, like, 20 failures.
Right. My success rate on the Ender when I started was like 1 in 4. My success rate when I'm done, like now, it's like 3 out of 4. But I still have like 25% of the prints that I do on the Ender, just like doesn't work, doesn't print properly.
Yeah. It
And
just takes a
I
lot of
sit there, the whole first layer of the Ender, and I wait for the whole first layer to finish before I leave because I don't trust it.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
blame you.
But I'm getting the 3D printing, and it's really, really cool. And it's
Yeah.
so fast. And like they have a ludicrous mode on the Bamboo Labs. I don't know if you know
A
this.
ludicrous speed.
They do. So everything prints at normal speed, but you can go to up to 166% speed.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah, I'm serious. So like what would take like 4 hours and now take like 3, right?
Now, for a little bit of context for those who have not done 3D printing, a big factor with 3D printing is the type of material
Yep.
and the heat and the flow. There's all these factors.
Yeah.
And what Jace is talking about, for some materials work fine, for others, maybe not as much. And there's different materials based upon what it's going to be used for.
Right.
There's a lot that can go into it, but that's
Yeah.
great that it's working.
But it's cool. I can print the Benchy, which is a little boat people do for tests. I can print one of those in like 10 minutes.
Perfect.
It's just so fast. So it's cool. But yeah,
Great.
I ordered a bunch of filament the other day. So I
Yeah.
literally, earlier today, I picked it all up on the front step. I now have 16 rolls of filament. That's a lot of color.
Do you have a drying box too?
Not yet. I don't know if I need one, but
I guess it depends on how quickly you're going to go through filament. So a factor, or more info, a factor of the fluidity or whatever the filament, of how good it's going to melt and adhere and everything as it hardens, is its moisture content. And so you can buy these boxes. They have little heaters in there, and that you put it in, turn it on, and then it helps to just keep it dry as the filament comes out, because when you open the filament from its vacuum sealed packaging, it starts to absorb moisture.
sure.
So you have to be careful based upon, if you live in a place like Florida, your filament's going to go bad quickly. You need to make sure you keep it sealed. And then if you live in Nevada, you're never using it because it's dry, or drier than anything. But that's another factor. And then depending on some filaments, you may have to, not only is heating of the filament tip a factor, there's also the temperature of like the bed
Yep.
and the difference of temperature of it cools. So sometimes you may use a case to wrap up the 3D printer to keep it warm enough so it,
Well,
molds
to
correctly.
keep everything consistent is how I was like
Yes,
that.
exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of factors with it. And I think you've learned the hardship with the Ender, but the Bamboo just makes it so much nicer.
It does. My only complaint is with the Ender, I could take an SD card. I could just put any STL file anywhere on it, and it would find it. I take an SD card. It has to have like certain folders on it for the Bamboo, I think, to know where to look for it. And I didn't know what those were. So like, I don't know what it's supposed to be. Anyways, so like I have to have dedicated SD cards for it, which I had already. It's
Okay.
interesting.
Well, for those listening, if you want to get more into 3D printing, especially how ServiceNow can do it, because one of my former colleagues, Christy Miriam, she's a developer advocate. She's a huge 3D printer. I've been in chats with her, and I see like 5 3D printers doing stuff behind her. Like, it's crazy how she does it. I think she's got a lot of content out there. I'm going to have to look it up. She was a huge 3D printer person.
You'll have to share, because I want to read it. I want to check it out because I don't know enough.
I'll have to see. But you know what? Goes back to our earlier conversation. When we have the crisis and collapse of civilization, you'll be able to make whatever you want.
As long as I got plastic, as long as I got filament.
You can find filament. I'm sure there's filament. Don't you have a Micro Center nearby? I can go to Micro Center. Micro Center has walls and walls of so much cool filament.
I was just at Micro Center today. I was rearranging my office, and I need a USB-C cable that I didn't have a spare one that was USB-C to USB-C. So
Really?
I was there, and I saw all the filaments that they had there. It's great. Micro Center started in Ohio. Fantastic
Started in
business.
Ohio. I remember going to Micro Center, and we're talking over 40 years ago, by the way. and you
Yeah.
go into Micro Center. So that's cool, the 3D printer. Well, another thing I want to switch to getting out 3D printer. I want to get into talking about a post I saw, and I lost the post, so I've got to verbally describe it.
Yeah.
We all
That's
know
great,
vibe
though.
coding is a big thing.
It is.
And people are talking about the agent builder in ServiceNow, which I still haven't really touched. Whatever, fine. But someone posted something recently that said, hey, I built this app vibe coding, not App Engine, not Studio, not this, not nothing, vibe coding, all vibe coding. And I stopped. I stopped right at App Engine. I'm like, all right, look, here's the thing you got to remember about ServiceNow as a platform. Its first product, in my argument, that Fred Luddy built was App Engine. That's really what he built.
Right.
And so I had to be like, wait a minute. So I posted this meme. I love this meme, by the way. Building vibe coded apps.
For those listening, there's a picture of the Earth with text on it that says, building vibe coded apps in ServiceNow is App Engine.
Question mark.
And there's an astronaut like pointing at it. And behind that astronaut, closer to the frame of what you see, there's another astronaut holding appears to be a gun and says always has been above them at the first astronaut.
It's been a popular meme. I don't know where it comes from. I just noticed, though, this one that I still has a flag of Ohio on that astronaut that's holding the firearm.
Did not realize that.
I just saw that. I was like, oh, Skibbity, Ohio? What? The point being is that it's like the surprise thing of, wait a minute. Even vibe coding is App Engine? It's like, yes, it is. I couldn't find that post because I wanted to comment that. But even if you don't think it's vibe coding, you're still going to need some kind of App Engine license to deploy it, right? So,
I mean, if you mean like you'll need to be able to consume new tables, yes.
Well, that and the license to be used by someone generally.
Yeah. Well,
yes. So that is what I had to get to. And, once again, it's just kind of that reminder as I watch the ServiceNow stock tank.
Did you follow any of the build agent things that people posted about? Because ServiceNow had that they had that thing where you could build an app with build agent. And if you shared it on social media, they'd send you a t-shirt or something.
I missed out on a free t-shirt?
I mean, yeah, but they did. I didn't do it. I was trying to recreate the ideas people did without it with other things. Yeah. But I was wondering maybe if, did ServiceNow ever like have like a giant mega post about all the things, or like, did anybody review like the useful, like, I'm not saying that they aren't useful. And that's one of the critiques of like this, of these build agents and like these kinds of things is they're cool toys, but they're not real yet.
Yes.
Right. Because they're like, with what was being made with that stuff, they were using stuff that nobody really supports yet in production.
We've discussed that before. I was just listening to our past podcast, actually. I was in the car, and I thought that were great. I was like, wow, I don't sound as annoying as I think I sound, first of all. And second of all, I had some moments my daughter was listening. She's like, Dad, you're kind of funny. I'm like, yes, I'm funny.
That's best.
But honestly, I just haven't been keeping up on it because I've been so busy with this new role that I announced, end of the year stuff. And quite honestly, my opinion is just, I'm like, okay, I'll get to it when I get to it, right? And once again, also because Fortnite Odyssey Lego dropped into Django Island, they're supposed to drop a part 2, so I wanted to get all ready to go for the part 2.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's just the new Ninjago Island almost brings about a whole new game. It annoyed some people, but generally I think it was good. Yeah. And I like it because it's nice and slow, and I'm a slow person. But hey,
I'm glad they came up with something you enjoy. That's great. And even better if you get a chance to play with friends and family.
No one wants to play online with me on that. I'm by myself, my own world.
Well, that's okay too.
All right, but the last Sorry, go ahead.
I said sometimes it's nice to have that time alone as well.
That's true. But the last other big news, back in gaming news, you know what came out for Diablo 4?
No.
So I've played Diablo since Diablo 2, so Diablo 2, 3, and my favorite character is always the paladin, Templar kinda guy, like the
Sure.
religious, I'm here for fighting for good person because I have a extreme sense of justice.
Sure.
And Diablo 4 when it came out didn't have that, and they're now coming out with a new expansion, but they said, "If you buy the expansion now, we will give you the new character you can start playing today," and out they came with the paladin. And I've been so happy because I'm like, "This is my jam." All my old weapons and stuff that I like to use.
Play
So for
styles. Yep.
play styles, yeah. So Diablo
I
4
thought they
fan
had a paladin-esque like character. They had like somebody who like was very armored. Was it just like the warrior class on Diablo 4?
the barbarian.
No, no, there was some other one. I remember because I played Diablo. Oh, I know. I'm thinking Diablo 3. I bet.
Yeah, you're thinking of was
I'm
it the
thinking Diablo 3. I'm thinking Diablo 3 because Diablo 4 had like more realistic stuff and was all over the place.
yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking
I think they
Diablo 3.
had where are the classes? In Diablo 4, I think it's now called the Crusader.
Okay. Yeah, they had
So
Crusader in Diablo 3 as well.
yes, they did.
And they still run seasons in Diablo 3. I was confused. I played a lot of Diablo 3. I got Diablo 4 and I played it for a bit, but I find if I have those games on my computer, I don't do other useful things.
I found that as well, and I've just accepted that sometimes I don't do useful things like talk to my kids. I'm just like sometimes I'm like, "Hey, pretend it's 1990, go drink hose water, whatever, go get jobs."
Right. But yeah, I haven't played a lot of Diablo 4. It's good. I just not if I play it, I don't have time to build. And I like building stuff.
That's good too.
Speaking of building stuff and other things, knowledge is coming up. Knowledge is a conference. ServiceNow's knowledge.
Yes. Yes. I don't know if I'll be going or not. I probably won't know until like 2 weeks before.
I don't know if I'm going or not either, but the sessions, they have 109 sessions as of today. And if you want to see who's speaking,
I know speaker proposal acceptances are starting to go out.
right. I had people telling me that my site is telling them that they've been accepted. And I said, well, I can't confirm that stuff. You should check with whoever your contact is. But according to their API, yeah, you're a speaker at the session.
Nice.
Right. And if you want to plan with your team, if you go to news.jace.pro/K26, you'll see all the sessions and who's speaking from what companies and the titles and that kind of stuff.
All right. We got to put a link in the show notes. By the way, I think the last podcast I did, because like I said, I was re-listening to them, I said I was going to put show notes of a bunch of links and stuff. And I don't think I put anything in because like I waited 2.5 weeks and I just wanted to, AI summary, get it in. So I got to go back and get better about putting links into the notes and everything.
But I
But
bet if we spell out the links, AI summary might include them.
that's a good idea. Maybe the summary does put them in. I got to check. The AI is getting better and better. It really
I
is.
spelled out the one I just said because it's nice and short.
Good.
Right?
Okay. All right.
So
well,
we'll see. You'll have to try it out and see if it worked.
we'll try that. And then also, I think you saw I changed the podcast hosting to Riverside FM, which is what we used to produce it, create it. So now I can at least say, yes, put this into the podcast. I think the link now, RSS link is now working correctly where I got it in Google Music because I'm an Android person, because I like technology that works
What podcasting app do you use?
to listen to.
Yeah, what podcasting app do you use for your
YouTube
apps?
Music.
You just use YouTube Music for the podcast. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right there.
Cool.
I think I also sometimes use Podcast Go.
Okay.
But when Google purchased YouTube kind of became their media arm. So they shifted everything from like Google Podcast over into YouTube Music. And now it's there under my library. Like, here's your podcasts.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how can we make sure that we even get shown in the Google and Apple library. Like if you search for us there.
Yeah. iTunes and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did notice since I do publish to YouTube in general, I think the stuff shows up in YouTube Music just because it's all connected.
Yep.
In the YouTube Google world. So yeah, but a lot of great stuff happening. Well, not bad stuff happening too, right? Like we talked about earlier.
Yep.
But hey, in the technology world, stuff's still exciting. But the one thing I'll also add on top of it, and this is across the industry, not related to anyone specific, but the word on the street now is just AI adoption is not what a lot of analysts thought it would be.
Right. I saw a news article that the Salesforce CEO was like, please come back, people.
Yes.
We let you go.
Yes. And I will give Bill McDermott, who I call the Oracle, a little some credit here. He deserves it. He said it was revolutionary, but he never said we're expecting to lay off tons of people. And to my knowledge, at least customers I work with, I've never said they're going to. I've always said this. And this, I think, is the true message of how things are going to play out demographically in work. It is true. There is a shrinking workforce. Flat out. Either A, immigrants getting kicked out, which is another conversation we already had,
Yep.
or B, people retiring, and C, people are not having as many kids as they used to have. And I understand that once again, when things are really expensive, you're not going to have kids. Once again, it goes back to those 4 necessities I talked about. That's a whole nother thing that needs to be fixed. But that being said, the shrinking workforce is real. So companies, every company out there has to maximize efficiency as much as possible. AI is the next revolutionary thing to do that. But in order to be successful, especially in the workplace, I tell this to everybody, you have to understand how people are working. You have to be able to show them how they can work better. And you've got to go back with how people are, myself included, where I hate change.
Yeah.
I miss my Nokia phone that when I dropped it, I rushed to pick up, not because I was worried about the phone being broken. I was worried about the cement. It was probably
Right.
cracked.
Right. Because it was
And
made to last.
it was made to last. And you never recharged it. I never
Right.
plugged mine in. It was always, my point being is, I think there's going to be pain with adoption as people are adjusting. I think younger people come into the workplace, my own coworkers who are young
I mean,
people who are
there's
brilliant.
obviously good
Yeah,
use cases for it,
there's
right?
great use cases. Yeah.
Like Microsoft Teams, like summarization of like the meetings and the ability
Yes.
to search meetings or ask
Searching.
Copilot in the middle of a meeting, hey, could you repeat that thing that Jace just said because it doesn't make sense, right? Or could you, like try to like rephrase that for me, and it'll do that for you in the middle of a meeting, and that is magic.
Great. Fantastic.
Right. But I just think that those use cases don't necessarily meet the needs that the stock market has been sold, and that
Yes.
the industry has been told, and that the hype that these things are doing, and the data centers that are being built. Who
And
knows?
you know why? Once again, these analysts, they're focused on the technology. They're not focused on people. And historically, people are slow to adopt new things. But like evolution, 10,000 years ago, the cavemen that learned about fire and used fire, they're still around, right? I think. People who didn't, who knows? They're
Who
gone.
knows?
Because remember, the basics of cooking your food meant your body didn't have to put as much energy to digestion, so it could put more energy into thinking. And I think in my optimistic, altruistic, even socialistic mentality,
Yeah.
is that we're in a great opportunity to really push ourselves to do better. Number one, I think financially, it needs to come to workers as well. I think that's got to change because people need to be happy and need to not have stress. And my big hope for 2026 is that people can come together and embrace the better way of doing things across the board. And I think it's going to take a little bit of time, more time than analysts thought, because once again, I don't think these analysts understand people as well as they may say they do. But I think the hype for the technology itself is real. But I think no one's factoring in just the adoption. We're in Gen X now. Gen X hates change. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people hate change in general, not just Gen X, but just most people. If you have something that works, great. One other thing I want to bring up, because I don't know it's from Techable, but I have one more thing, and I
Bring
don't
it in.
nothing.
Let's go.
So I also last year got more into making bread, more of like baking.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
And for Christmas, my wife got me one of those super fancy KitchenAid mixers that like
We have one of
weighs
those. Awesome.
weighs like 100
yes.
pounds, and
Yes.
like you put it in one corner of the kitchen and it never moves again. Man, that thing is fantastic.
It is like a mechanical keyboard, an earlier mechanical keyboard that was massively heavy. If you had a home intruder, you don't go for a shock. You go for the mixer. You go for the mechanical keyboard. And I'm telling you, that person is not going to wake up for 3 weeks if they get hit in the head with it.
It is, but it's great. My wife's been baking cookies with it. I've been baking bread with it. I make,
Fantastic.
forming the stuff up. I need to figure out like how to store bread before you like store the dough before you cook it. Because like you have to do things, whatever. Because I want to prep the dough so I can like prep it the day before and then just put it in the oven in the morning. Because wouldn't that be great if like you woke
Yes.
up, or like the kids woke up to the smell
Fresh
of
bread.
fresh bread, right? Anyways,
You know what I recently made on the bread tangent? I cooked Indian food this past week and I finally made naan bread. And I was surprised how easy it was to make naan. And the best part about it is you can do it on a cast iron skillet. You don't even need an oven.
really.
And the reason why I love that is because if you think historically, more history, sorry,
But
but
there's
it's
nothing wrong with history.
technology.
History's
It's,
good.
it's technology, right? It's technology in a way.
Yeah,
If you think about what goes into make an oven, you have to have a big built container, essentially. You have to be able to close it. It has to have a heat source. And if you're out camping or moving around a lot, it is hard to build an oven wherever you go.
right.
But normally you could do a fire in a pan, easy to carry. And so a lot of cooking, like naan, for example, came about from necessity of, hey, when you're really poor, you may not have an oven, but you can still make bread. Bread is historically a huge staple in diets.
Right.
And that's awesome. Fresh bread is great. When are you going to invite me over? I got to get to Minneapolis.
You're able to come over anytime. We
That's
even
awesome.
have a spare room. I can
I
kick
got
one of the
some,
kids out there.
I've got some great friends in Minneapolis, in that area. It's awesome, but also great. Not good in the winter. I don't like the cold,
It's
but
really cold right
beautiful,
now. Again,
beautiful in the summer.
it warmed up like last week. Everything melted, and now all the ground is like not icy everywhere, but like my alleyway. You ever go to a car wash and like your car is kind of like corralled into that like line where it pulls you forward? That's my alleyway now. It's got ice grooves and they aren't straight. So if you're driving, it's like,
You know what? That is like cross country skiing. Like you get in the tracks and you just go.
yeah. I mean, thankfully, Minnesota is pretty flat with all of our lakes. So it's not like we're going to skid downhill and hit somebody, but
Sure. Well, Ohio's pretty flat, but without as many lakes, and it's Ohio, Skibbity, Ohio. No cap.
yep. All
You
right.
got raised. All right, this has been another fun episode. It started heavy. Sorry for those who don't like it, but I'm optimistic.
I'm not sorry. If you didn't like it, I'm sorry. Not really.
Okay, you know what? We had to do it. It had to be talked about.
I had to be
We had to
talked
get
to. I
out
had to
there.
bring it up. I need to talk to somebody but other
Yes,
than my wife. So
yes. Stay safe, everybody. This has been Michael.
this is Jace. See ya.